What's going on, everyone? I am Magically Average. That over there is Frankfurter. This is BakaBites, and today we are talking about Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation for the 100th billionth time, and all of the hoopla and noise around it, and also some recent news that came out today as well. We go through this every single season. We get
Wee!
a new jobless reincarnation. We have the same conversation, and it's so tiresome. But
Wee!
the voices are getting louder and louder, and more frustrating. But we'll get into it in a little bit. How you doing today? It's a Monday. It's the first Monday of the new month.
I'm doing well. I'm prepping basically for QuakeCon this past weekend. Made a giant banner for our group. There was supposed to be about like 18 of us, but a few dropped at the last minute due to job changes and moving. So congratulations to them. But at the same time, yeah, I think we've dropped from 18 to 15 people. So still a ton of
Yeah.
people. I'm looking forward to it. This is a yearly thing that I've been doing since 2017. Not during the pandemic because they had it all online, but like even then we would take the day off or the few days off to just play games and just do it online. So yeah, no, this has been something that I've been doing for nearly a decade. It's the 30th anniversary this year, so looking forward to it. Hoping that there's some good news out of this event because boy howdy is fucking Xbox in a hole with all their news coming out recently and all the layoffs, etc. So
Yeah.
hopefully something good comes out of this convention. But at the same time, I'm not there for necessarily the news. It's always there for the BYOC, the bring your own computer. So looking forward to that. But
That'll
yeah,
be fun.
just basically once we're done recording tonight, I'm literally dismantling my computer, taking my monitor away, and just like starting the inventory check of what I need to bring. So this will be interesting.
Always the most
But I
stressful
will
time when you're like
yeah, and I've
dismantling
already
and getting
made
cords and all that.
like 2 lists as well, and then, like, I sent it to my wife or I sent it to my other buddy who's going with me. He's like, "Hey, you forgot to put this on your list." I'm like, "Fuck," and then my wife is like, "You forgot to put this on the list." I'm like, "God dang it." So there's always something. Luckily, it's local to me, so it's like, if I need to drive home, I can, but at the
Yeah.
same time, yeah. But yeah, no, other than that, I've really been trying to make a concerted effort to, keep up with the current anime season. There's only a handful of shows that I'm really like behind on that I really want to watch. Like I'm maybe an episode or two behind on Kaiju Girl, Carmelese or Carmelese, however you pronounce it. Still don't know
Hmm.
how you pronounce it. And a handful of others, but like I've also been keeping up with the slop shows as well because those are my like stationary bike riding shows. Because I don't want to like the TV that's in the room with the stationary bike isn't the nicest, so it's like I'll watch the shitty shows on the shitty TV, and then I'll watch the nice shows on the nice TV.
That's
So yeah,
we we're so different because when I was working out and biking as well frequently, I would always watch anime, but I would always just watch the ones that made me happy and made me enjoy it because I wanted to distract myself from the fact that I was being forced to work out because I'm a fat sack of crap. And
you're not a
so
fat
like,
sack of crap.
eh,
You're just a sack of crap.
oh, sack. But because I
um,
remember watching like Apothecary Diaries and Delicious in
yeah,
Dungeon and Fear and stuff. So, but it's just funny to me that you're like, I take that opportunity because the TV's shitty to watch those shitty shows, and I'm
it
like,
is
well,
like a 15 to 20-year-old TV. Like I'm not gonna watch like nice shows on a shitty TV. So it's like I've been watching like Oh Boy Was I Wrong About Her
this
like
is
on that like TV.
this is the
The
guy.
Skeleton Knight, Frontier Lord Begins with Zero
Hey, there's
Subjects,
what?
like
There's
those type
nothing
of
wrong with
shows.
Skeleton Knight. Hey,
That shows
um,
that's
this is the guy too that threw a temper tantrum when he found out he bought the wrong ticket for the Odyssey. So that's how
I
bougie
was
and pretentious he is with
I've got
I'm not
I've
watching
got
any of those
2
newfangled shows on a 15 to 20-year-old TV. Who do you take me for? A peasant?
Yeah. But no, I'm seeing the Odyssey in IMAX 70 millimeter in 2 weeks from
Oh my
tomorrow.
god.
So
Well, good
looking
for you.
forward to that.
Good for you. Well, as we're on the topic
Oh,
of currently airing
current season.
anime, yeah, in current seasons, one that is high quality, top production is Mushoku Tensei. And
Yep.
every single season of anime where we get a new season of Mushoku Tensei, the same conversations constantly bubble back up. And it's getting to the point now where I feel like it's one, content creators take this opportunity as like a convenient time to just spin out endless amounts of videos stating their opinions while the iron's hot, right? Like, you know, you have the season's currently airing, it's trending, whatever the case is,
Yeah.
just get on that train while you can. Because every time the season ends, it's back to just crickets. Like, no one talks about it, no one makes videos about it, no one complains about it. It's like it never happened. But then the moment we get a new season, everyone springs back up like fucking cicadas. They just like emerge from the ground and just make a whole bunch of loud noise, and you just want to yell and scream at them, go, shut up, please. We've heard it before. We get it. We understand. Just stop. And I reached a spillover point recently when I was doing my late night doom scrolling on social media because my work has been destroying me. And it's my only way to cope with reality is to just doom scroll and endlessly. I kept seeing more and more videos come up back to back about Mushoku Tensei. And I was like, man, I mean, like, I know the season's airing. I was like, what is going on? Like, did anything new happen? And of course, no. Again, it's just for the convenience. But the rhetoric just continuously remains the same. It's these two sides, and mind you, I don't agree with either side. I'm gonna make that abundantly clear from the start before people start freaking out prematurely and being like, "Oh, he's gonna defend the PDF,
The
the
pedophile
main
side.
character. Like, oh, he what a gross, disgusting person you are." Like, no, I am vehemently against both opinions for distinct reasons. Okay, and I'll get into them. But like, one side of the coin is no one should watch, rather, no one should like or support Mushoku Tensei because of the actions of their main character. And then the other side is not the converse of that, not saying like you should like Mushoku Tensei for XY reason. Apparently, the other side is vehemently defending the main character and coming up with excuses and rationale for why the main character is not that bad. So I will reiterate, having stated both sides, I am against both of those opinions. I think they're both wrong in their own way, but they're extremely loud and irritating to the point where I feel like I felt like we had to actually dedicate an episode to this and talk through it in more detail. So I think the easiest one right off the bat, and I don't think there's much discussion of it, is the people that think that there's nothing wrong with Rudius are completely brain dead and like starkly removed from normalcy of society. Like,
Okay.
Rudius is not supposed to be a likable main character. Rudius is not supposed to be an idealistic hero type character in this world. Rudius is supposed to be a troubled, very, very, very downright deplorable type of person. And as a viewer, as someone or a reader, if you're reading the light novels, that's something that you have to grapple with. You have to try to come to terms with the fact that you're following the story of a main character who is, like, by definition, a horrible human being. Like, there's no redeeming quality of them to the point where you can try to attach yourself to them and think maybe I can hang on to this little bit of hope for this main character that something will change. He's not presented that way. He's supposed to be challenging. He's supposed to be extremely difficult to viewers and readers alike because of the fact that he is just a deplorable person. Like, in all ways, shapes, or form. You think every time he's on this arc of like, ooh, he's learning, he's growing, he's finally redeeming himself. Every single time you get reminded in the most aggressive manner, oh no, never mind, he's still a piece of shit.
Yep.
But
I mean, even
you
in the most current episode, the one that aired this past Sunday, he's just like, "I promise I will not take," and minor spoilers for the show, "I promise I will not take another wife." And then instantly thinks about another girl who he might potentially take as another wife.
yeah.
And then
And
says, "I might break my promise."
and the thing is too with a lot of the people that are like, no, Rudius, you're just focusing on one or two aspects of Rudius, blah blah blah, and then coming up with these like convoluted
Asinine
Charlie
excuses.
Day type, like connecting the dots, like, and see for these rationales, ignoring all these other things, he's not that bad. Like, no, he's supposed to be. I don't want to say you're supposed to hate him, but you're definitely supposed to challenge your own thoughts on how you view this main character. Because again, he doesn't fit this mold of what we would typically see in our idealistic type main character, this hero type character. He doesn't fit that. And it's that aspect alone is meant to, again, challenge you into either, you got to either find a way to support him, or you just go in and don't like him. Like, some people get like, me personally, I don't view him as a main character I'm willing to follow. Right? I don't look at this story as the story of Rudius. I look at this story as to how everyone handles Rudy in their own way. Like, I enjoy more of the series when it's not solely focused on Rudy, because of the fact that it is hard to, when you dig deep into the mind of him, to really find anything pleasing about having him be the focal point of the series, right? It's challenging. It's supposed to upset you. So to come up with all these excuses and back and forth, like, no, he's not that bad. Again, I find that to be wrong in every way. A little bit disgusting too, if I'm being so bold. And again, I think you're just missing the point entirely with how you're supposed to handle Rudius as a main character. Okay, that was the easy one, which took a lot of time to extrapolate on. The other side, which again, I think they're the loudest. They're the ones that you hear most often. They're the ones that are review bombing on IMDb and making the rounds on all the different social media, is the side that says
Mhm.
you shouldn't like Mushoku Tensei, or you shouldn't watch Mushoku Tensei because of the material it's displaying. And if you do, or if you, God forbid, rate this series highly, you're a disgusting human being and you should feel ashamed. And I never know how to approach them, because I've made we've made videos on topics like this before on our short form. Um and a lot of the times we went in just thinking it's a discussion. It's a great opportunity to open up the conversation line to opinions, whether they be the same or differing, to just talk. Usually what happens though is people decide to you take the opportunity to just sling immeasurable amounts of insults at you, um,
Yeah.
rather than have a genuine discussion on the topic. But I digress. The problem is that everyone's focused on a handful of elements, obviously perpetrated by Rudius, the main character, as being the rationale for why you should not support this series. And my main argument, because we made the claims before, it's fiction, right? First off, it's not reality, it's fiction, right?
Yep.
That right away should just sort of kind of clear the air to begin with. Okay, it doesn't work anymore. People are beyond that. They're like, okay, but you're still reading it. You're still consuming it. You're still supporting it. So that doesn't detract from the fact that this material is still in the series that you're watching or reading. So I'm like, all right, fine. Let's go a different route. Let's go the route of these things happen in society. We can't pretend that they don't happen. And it is difficult for a reason because it's not supposed to be something that's easy to wrap your mind around. It's not supposed to be something that is, an everyday sort of thing that people experience, right? It's supposed to be this challenging, difficult area. And Mushoku Tensei is not the only series that has done this. Far from it. It's in countless series.
I feel like it's the only good series to have done it.
Sure,
Like, if this
you
was
can.
another bad show, it would just go under the water like all the other shows, but the fact and the matter that this is a legitimately good show that has, built a really good fantasy world is the only reason why it ever gets any attention compared to other things.
And I think that's a very valid argument. It's that because it's mainstream. Well, I don't like to
Not
use the
even
word
mainstream, but, like,
mainstream,
yeah, but it's
but it's in
at
the
the
spotlight,
forefront.
right? Yeah, it's constantly towards the top when new seasons are airing, and again, it gets a lot of traction online, and so it's kind of a convenient target because of the material it's showing. But again, I go to the simple fact that it's not unique in that it's the only series that has these situations occur, right? And I'll give you a good example too of this. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, excuse me.
Ooh.
But but again, like the idea is that this is not supposed to be something that's easy. It's not supposed to be something that people can just watch casually and then you just kind of disregard, right? It's supposed to be something that as a viewer, if you are truly invested in what you're watching or what you're reading, you're having to do a lot of mental exercises to try to understand and weigh the situation and really truly grasp what's occurring. And like again, Rudius is not meant to be a character that you're supposed to like right off the bat. He's not even supposed to be meant to be a character that you're to like ever. It's hard. He's been built that way for a reason from the very start, right? You get this like glimpse into his previous life. You get to see a little bit of the back and forth that he had with his parents growing up in the first season. And yet it's contrasted with all these scenes when he's reincarnated as Rudius of him just being like this disgusting, perverted menace on society. And that's purposeful. Like it's the dichotomy of like you wanting to feel for someone who kind of had their life taken away from them by other people, right? Like he was a shut in, was kind of cast away by society, right? That's how he's portrayed at least. And he does this one act, this one redeemable act that leads to his death. And again, it's supposed to make you kind of feel emotional or feel a sense of regret towards what he had experienced and what he had gone through, only to be put into a situation where now he's reincarnated as someone that again has the memory and mind of a 34-year-old, I think. And I don't know what age they are now.
Somewhere something like that. They're late
Yeah.
20s, early 30s.
Um, and their character is again this deplorable, perverted, grotesque type character. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard, right? And
Yeah.
people just want to focus on that one aspect. They just want to focus on the really convenient aspect of, oh, he is a PDF, and so therefore you shouldn't like it. And therefore, if you support this series, you're wrong, basically, is the mentality. And I think that's completely ignorant to the series as a whole, and it just defeats the whole idea that you can have a challenging series like this where you're meant to feel and think in many different ways about the characters and the situations they're put in and how they grow. I love the commentary from people saying like if character growth is making sure that you don't be a PDF, then man, I guess people just don't understand what character growth is. And I'm like, wow, I wish I was as simple minded as you. I really do. But yeah, I it's just that piece to it is just so frustrating to me is that there's the rhetoric online of if you like Mushoku Tensei, if you support Mushoku Tensei, one, you're wrong, and two, it's for the simple fact that it's about pedo and incest and all that stuff. And again, I want to say it again over and over because I think it's the easiest. It is fiction. There are plenty of other fictional tales that I'm sure many people have read or watched that have these same things. I don't it's not like they're creating this new thing, right? It's not like prior to Mushoku Tensei there was no source material ever created that didn't contain this sort of material. That's just not the case. So I fail to see that argument in a lot of people that a lot of people are making as well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'll stop for a second because I'm gonna go on to another part of the why these people are infuriating. But what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, I do agree with what you are saying. I think that one of the points that, one of the camps that I will say that I do agree with a bit more, which we haven't talked about, and maybe this is what you're going to get at next, is that a lot of people or like who do watch the show or, read the description of what happens is just like, he's a deplorable character that never grows. Well, he does grow, but like he does keep his deplorable tendencies. My issue with it, in which I agree, is that he's not properly punished
Yeah.
in the sense that he is punished in certain aspects, but it's like not due to his actions. It's due to circumstances that are going on in the sense of just like, hey, again, minor spoilers for season 2, Father's Day. Hey, we got to go save mom. We finally found her. And consequences of our actions of trying to find mom, dad dies. That's how he is punished, quote unquote. And I don't agree that that is a good punishment. Was it a great episode? Absolutely. I think that that was a wonderful arc, and I understand why it was done. I understand that it was to bring, Roxy to help save Rudy in that instance. But at the same time, I don't think that it was, it's not necessarily the correct punishment that Rudy deserves
Hmm.
because none of the actions he has taken has been punished, and I think that that's kind of the biggest injustice of the show. But I do think I and agree that his character is deplorable. His character having the mindset of a 34-year-old, knowing that, hey, what I'm doing is wrong, and just doing it anyways is wrong. It is wrong. It is not a good mindset. However, I do like the character growth, especially in season 1, where he is a child and he is scared to leave because he is mentally still, while he might be mentally 34, that 34-year-old brain was fucked up in the sense that like he could not leave the house because he was so scared of the outside world. And
Yeah.
he took that into this new world. And the fact that he gets a second chance at life to say, "Hey, I don't have to be bullied. I have this new power now. I can do it for good and saving the people that I care about, etc." And just growing that way, I do really like about the show. But I do agree, his tendencies are really bad.
Hmm.
But I will say now that they're adults and whatnot, because consenting adults, I believe, I don't know, they're close to the 18 mark at this point in the
Yeah, I
series,
can't remember.
if not a little bit older. But like at that point, whatever, who cares? But, like, when he was younger and making those mistakes, I do think, like, it was not good. It was gross, you know, his actions were gross and they were never punished. I don't even think that Eris, and again, spoilers for the end of season 1, Eris leaving Rudy after sleeping with him, I don't think that even that was, like, a good punishment. Like, I
No.
think that because, kind of knowing what I know down the line or what it's hinting at, it's not a good punishment at all. There's no love lost there, essentially. Like,
Mhm.
he goes through a period of time where he's insolent or, he can't get it up, but that might be for the better, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just, like, it's not a good learning or, just punishment to the character. It's like, hey, the actions I took, the consequences were essentially nothing. And I think that that's where the show gets the most things wrong. And that's where I actually do agree with one of the camps here or there. But that's
Yeah.
strictly storytelling, I feel like. That's not even necessarily character building or focusing on a character. I think that's more so just, storytelling and how they shape the story going
Well,
forward. But like I adore the show. I don't know if I was the one that told you that you should watch this show when it first came out, but
no, you were.
if not,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. But like I think that this is one of those shows that does a fantasy world very well. It does a power system that is brutally great.
Yeah.
And I love all of the adventures that they've gone on, minus the sexual exploits. I think that those are just
But
like that. Barring those, this show is absolute gold. It's a great show because he does, grow as a character, grow as a person, despite the fact that, his bad side of his person is also just there. It's just there at the beginning seasons, and it's just like, this really sucks. Outside of this just one glowing thing, it's a
well,
wonderful series.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't diminish it to say it's just one thing. I think there's a lot of aspects about Rudy beyond just his
Right.
perversions and everything like that that are very difficult. Again, he's not meant to be an easy to love character. He's not meant to really be a lovable character at whatsoever, right? He's meant to be someone that you truthfully want to hate from start to finish. But to talk really quickly about the punishment, because I think that's a really interesting aspect you bring up, and to add on to what you're saying, but also to play devil's advocate slightly, it is very frustrating going through and you're watching all these different sequences of him with characters like Sylphie, like Eris, like Roxy. You also get into it with his mom and his dad. You also experience it with some of the side characters. Well, he doesn't ever, even in situations where he does a heinous act or he makes a mistake. To your point, none of those characters treat him in a way that's punishing. I mean, the closest we really realistically got was Eris, right? And even to what
Yeah.
you said, like I agree, that wasn't a punishment. He didn't learn anything, right? It just more so that whole sequence at the end of season one fed into his fear of being isolated, of being alone. And
Like he was in his previous
but
life.
that's something that he had experienced before, right? As Rudy, he had never experienced that. So it still went on, or it was still perceived to be not so much a punishment, right? But I more attribute that, and again, it's we're talking about fiction, something that's been written by an author, right? We're not saying that this is something that the
Yeah.
characters can quite literally do. They're fictional characters,
They can't change it or anything.
but
Ink
you
has been laid to paper, it's
yep.
done.
But you expect that the characters that are around him, his support system, would be the ones that would administer those types of punishments, right? Admonish him for his behavior, to ensure that he's put on a better path, or at least he's learned from what his mistakes, right? And that doesn't happen. Now, playing devil's advocate, that that aspect is something that he, as a young Rudy, saw firsthand with his mom and dad. Like, his dad cheated on his mom with the maid, and yes, his mom was pissed, yelling, verbally insulting his father, right? But they
Pretty
were
sure
still
throwing
together.
shit at him
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, physical too. But they still remained together. They still apparently loved each other, right? She acknowledged the fact, like, yes, you committed adultery. right? I acknowledge that. I do not forgive you, but I am still your wife, and we still have a son together, and we still need to support, and a daughter too. I forgot about her, and a daughter.
Yeah.
Um, and we need to support each other, right? So like Rudy's learned at a young age, or not learned so much as he experienced at a young age, like that behavior just sort of in totality goes unpunished, right? And so like even there, like you're kind of like, no, what, huh? That's not how the world works. And then you realize again, hey, this is an alternate reality. This is a different world entirely. Some of these aspects don't correlate over. And this leads directly into another point I wanted to bring up in this whole wave of opinions
Hmm.
that keep flowing each and every season. I remember last season for the first part, everyone just screaming and yelling, could not stop spewing online. Stop watching Mushoku Tensei. You can't support this because they're promoting slavery. Do you remember that time? You remember when that was the hot topic item?
Very briefly, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, very briefly. Very briefly. And then no one's brought it up since. Oh,
The little
wow.
dwarf, while
Shocker.
still technically a slave or an indentured servant.
And again, that goes to my point about how the opinions of a lot of these people are just, again, it's they attack when the iron's hot. It's convenient. It's the main topic of the season, albeit for the wrong reasons. So I'm just gonna pile it on, just add to it. Clicks, 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 baby. Views and comments are all that matter. Who cares if my opinions are just a continuation of what everyone else is spewing? I don't really have my own. Just blah, splurt it out again, right? Like, no one's talking about that. She's still a character. She's still around. Where's all the hoopla about that? Huh? Where's the noise about that? I that goes to the opinions, right? But again,
Yeah.
even that piece when we made a video about it and discussed it online too, again, this is a different reality. I want to start by it's fiction, okay? And I think I can almost confidently, 100% confidently say that no one supports slavery. No one. It is the no one.
Hopefully, anyways.
Well, yeah, yeah. But that's why I said 100%. Because if there is someone, then I don't acknowledge them as an actual living, breathing, sentient being. I picture them more like,
They are a lizard person.
yeah, dirt, just fucking ground that I step on. It's
Anyways,
type of,
sorry.
yeah. But like but it's still something that has happened. It's still, I mean, unfortunately, as it is to say too, there are some parts of the world where there is technically still indentured servitude or slavery, right? It's not something that we can just pretend never happened and we just can't talk about it anymore. That's not how the world works. There's still other series and other fictional series, not anime, that are coming out routinely these days that technically have slavery in them. Why are they not admonished more for that than it is Mushoku Tensei? Who knows? That piece I quite literally don't have an answer to, because I do not understand why we separate out, oh, that's a live action, or oh, that's a it's Western media, right? Like, we wag the finger, but we know. But if it's anime, if it's from Japan, no. Not to mention the fact that there's a lot of other series that people love that have slavery in it too. A cough, cough, Rising of the Shield Hero. A cough, cough. So
Yeah.
I just that was all to say too, that like the cherry picking, the again, just piling on to what is currently trending and regurgitating what other people are saying does nothing to this conversation whatsoever. And I genuinely present this topic, and I'm almost certain if I have time, I'll make a short form video on it too, just as like a little test. and maybe in a week's time we'll come back, circle back, and see what happens. But I do genuinely want to have this be an open conversation for people to come to me and say, you're wrong for XYZ reason. And I will gladly, gladly take that criticism to heart and, you know, come up with my own response, whether it's I agree, I disagree, here's the middle ground. You know, I truly believe that this is a conversation topic to be had in the anime community, but it has to be a conversation. It has to be something where people can approach one another and have a dialogue about, not just a you're wrong, I'm closing my ears, blah blah blah, you're a horrible human being, end of the story, right? That's not a conversation. That's not a discussion. That's an accusation and a basically baby response to trying to communicate about something, right? And again, this goes to the whole fact that it's hard. This is not an easy series to talk about, right? It's thought provoking. It's not thought provoking in like the same sense of Orb, right? Which is another series that
Right.
I can talk endlessly about with people. Um, it's more in line with like, God, what's a really good like old tale that we could equate this to? I would say Catcher in the Rye, but I feel like not many people know about that anymore or have read it. Um,
With Mice and Men?
yeah, Mice of Men. You could do like not Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies was just weird
No,
because it was like kids and yeah.
that'd be way different.
Yeah.
Um,
But I meant in like in the terms of like just having material that is meant to elicit a wide range of emotions and thoughts, all of which are fair and valid because there's really not one right way to respond, right? We don't get that a lot in
yeah.
anime. Anime is supposed to be, I shouldn't say supposed to be, but anime to the Western audience traditionally is looked at as a grown up cartoon.
Ooh, pretty colors across the sky and
It,
action scenes.
cartoon in the sense of simple ish settings and topics and characters and, you know, stories and, you know, the adult aspect or the more mature aspect is, you know, it might include some violence and blood and death, right? Like, oh, um, but people neglect to realize too, like anime is primarily built on source material, in which some of it's manga, some of it's light novels, and a lot of those are geared towards adults, geared towards a more mature audience, and it's supposed to be more thought provoking, more mature subject material. It's not all pretty colors and giant fight scenes and stuff like that and endless battles. It's some of it's harder subjects because that's what the mangaka or author wanted to create, right? Like there's no limitation to that. So this is just again something that's been constantly on my feed, something that I felt was necessary to talk about because I I do feel like genuinely we can have conversations, but it's a lot harder when people are online or just basically wagging their finger at you saying you're a bad person for watching this or supporting this and then closing the app and going, I did my part for society today, and then walking away.
Yeah. I've really said a lot about like the story wise and kind of Rudy, etc. And I think, kind of just since you've been talking for a while, just to kind of go back on some of your points, like I agree. I think that Rudy as Rudy, not Rudy as the, reincarnated version of himself. He is around a lot of different things that we outs on, social norms are most people's social norms are not normal. And some of it is, and some people understand it and can probably relate to it, having a dad who slept around and, the family still stayed together, etc. But like for most people that's not normal. And I think to challenge them that way and just think in a different mindset of like, okay, maybe because it's a fantasy world or just, no, it's just somebody else's normal. But to say like, yeah, Rudy was around that, and I think that him thinking it's normal is, yeah, I get it from that standpoint, and just you want to see Sylphie like tell him off for cheating and bringing back another wife essentially,
Yeah.
but
And
yeah, you can't. I still think that the punishment thing is the thing that bothers me, because even to like
no, I agree.
this newest episode, I don't know. Are you caught up on this newest episode or
Don't
no?
spoil it for me, please. I haven't had a lot of free
Okay.
time.
Well,
Well,
there's a really good example in
I
this newest episode outside of what I've already briefly mentioned,
yeah.
that like carries over from season 2, like maybe in this season 1. But no, this beginning of season 2 that carries over into here, and it's just like it resolves itself and puts a nice pretty bow on it. It's just like, no. No, no, no. Like like
Yeah.
it just
Well,
it
I
yeah.
guess the one correction I'll make to what I said too is that think what was learned from Rudy based on the interaction of his parents, it wasn't so much that it was the normalcy of things. I think that's just he kind of had this understanding that there was no punishment, right? Like if you were the type of a certain type of person in which his dad was a well-known adventurer, very strong, right? Like was somewhat of a leader, I think, during his time when he actually went out and did adventuring. Like that, if you are of that type of status, you can get away with certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like, but we don't know. It's never been fully discussed. It's not like at that time we got into the inner thoughts of Rudius, and he was like, "Oh, if my dad can have multiple wives and no one punishes him for it, then I guess that's what I'll do." Just like Papa. Like that's not. We didn't get that sort of like internal monologuing about it. This is all just kind of inferred
Right.
based on the situation. So, but again, I think it lends itself to your complaint, and it certainly is one of the aspects that I do find to be like frustrating, in the sense that the lessons he learns are are do not stem from punishments. They stem from like mistakes that he's kind of just goes by the wayside. And he just learns through like a very like unconventional manner, like, this is the lesson I take from this experience. It's like, no,
And it's
you
just the
didn't.
wrong lesson. It's always the
Exactly,
wrong lesson too.
exactly, yeah, right. And again, another frustrating aspect to the character, right? That like he just seems to feel like he always gets away with things and doesn't truly get an appreciation for or an understanding of what his decisions or actions or lack thereof had on other people, and thus ultimately he goes unpunished, right?
Yeah, he
So,
never has the Scooby Doo moment of I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
yeah, exactly.
And I mean that in every sense of the
Yeah.
word of
Yeah.
but like
It's just
yeah, I
but again, I want to just highlight this fact, this simple fact that right now the conversation you and I are having is I don't see this happening online, right? The whole reason for this episode, and I would, we would love to gush about Mushoku Tensei because again, it is a wonderful series. I think it is truly one of the few isekai fantasy type series where you have superb world building, you have well thought out characters, you have, incredible storytelling too. And it's just all of that is tainted by a main character who, yes, as we've stated, is deplorable, is not supposed to be likable, is certainly meant to be a challenging character to gravitate towards for obvious reasons. But having that one character be the rationale for why people will ridicule you and reprimand you for liking it is just again beyond
silly.
me. Um
The last point I'll make on it is that people who take one thing out of a show and don't look at it as a whole is why I feel like media literacy, especially in the anime community, is so low.
oh
Because
yeah.
again, I think that, and I'm just gonna keep saying it until it ends. Oshinoko will be the death of media literacy in the anime community.
Oh boy.
I wholeheartedly believe that the ending for Oshinoko is absolutely incredible. And I know so many people are going to absolutely disagree with me and say, Frank, how the ever living fuck are you? What are you talking about? There's no way that that was a good ending. How the why? No. And I'm like, then your media literacy, you really need to do fucking research. You need to take like out of body experience, look at everything rather than just looking at one thing. And that's why it's just like it's frustrating for shows like that and this where again people are just taking one thing into consideration, and it's entirely frustrating from that standpoint too. So if you know what the ending of Oshinoko is, please do not spoil it for my co-host here. Do not spoil it in the comments. Do not spoil it for the other viewers who have not read it and are just anime
Just
only, because
don't
I do
spoil
think,
anything, period.
yeah, even Mushoku Tensei, we're anime only for it. I know that the light novels are done, but like, I don't want to know the ending. I want to watch it. But
I don't want to
yeah,
read
I think
words.
I don't want to read words. Yeah, to sum it up, just I think if you only take one thing out of a show rather than looking at it as a whole is wildly inconsiderate of just media in general. So take that how you will, but I thoroughly enjoy this show despite the shortcomings of the main character.
Agreed. I mean, I think my moral of the story to this whole discussion is primarily just it's a fictional tale at the end of the day, okay? It's difficult. It's challenging. It's thought provoking. It's meant to be all those things. And there's no one right perspective on this series. You can have a multitude of differing opinions, all of which could technically be right. But I think the moral of it all is that there's no right opinion. There's no right perspective. It's meant to challenge you. It's meant to test your fortitude on what you attribute to being like a main character, what you attribute like how you perceive someone who's classed as this hero, so the focal point of a series to be like, and it's kind of thrown on its head, right? And
Yeah.
the unfortunate thing is that opinions online, if you're a new fan, will tell you just don't watch it because of that one simple aspect. And I feel like it's a disservice to, as you were putting it very eloquently as well, it's a disservice to media literacy. It's a disservice to anime as a whole. And I think it does nothing but push back the community further, which is an unfortunate thing. Um, and I'll cap all this off by saying, if you say these types of opinions online and you still support Rurouni Kenshin, you are by and far the stupidest motherfucker on the face of the planet.
I wouldn't have even thought to end it that way, but I'll wholeheartedly agree.
And if you get that reference, good for you. And if you've made it this far, good for you as well. We really appreciate you listening, watching, wherever you're getting our podcast from. We thank you. If you want to keep up with us, you can always follow us on our social medias at Baka&Co Podcast, where we post short form media, doing anything from reviews to random gags and everything in between. We will be back next week with a brand new episode. That has been Frankfurter. I have been Magically Average, and this has been BakaBites. Take care. We'll see you then. Bye, everyone.